Now, given that people out there like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are really carrying a lot of weight on their backs to really attempt to course correct the franchise with Star Wars Ahsoka, which by the way debuts on August 26th, as well as Mandalorian Season 4 that has now been delayed all the way up until the first quarter of 2025, they really are trying to boost that momentum again and to really kickstart that excitement for Star Wars. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get into one big development surrounding Jon Favreau and Lucasfilm as a whole. Now, what's been going on between Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy has been quite dramatic, to say the least. We do know that Kathleen Kennedy is essentially sabotaging Star Wars with the Acolyte series that has a showrunner such as Leslie Headland that is driving it into the ground and diverting away from George Lucas's treatment of the franchise. We also have John Watts working on Skeleton Crew, who is marvelizing Star Wars. That's really going to feel very odd, at least to me. I don't know about you guys. But what's really intriguing has a lot of things to do with what's been going on behind the scenes involving Jon Favreau and a Lucasfilm team/crew that was let go by him that was approved by the Disney higher-ups. So let's get into the actual specifics and what actually led to this entire moment. And not a big surprise, but Kathleen Kennedy has a lot to do with it indirectly speaking. So let's dive into the situation. So with both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni working hard to course correct Star Wars, however, recently Favreau fired an entire team over at Lucasfilm connected to a specific Star Wars project, since he has full control as of now for a big show. The firing of this Lucasfilm crew and team had to do with Mandalorian Season 4, as both Jon and Dave are embracing some rewrites once the writer's strike comes to a close. The main reasoning behind this decision is that there were many loyalists connected to Kathleen Kennedy that were still connected to the Mandalorian Season 4 that wanted to completely do away with the cameos of Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, and even, surprise, Legends characters such as Mara Jade and Kyle Katarn, which is the ongoing plan right now also for Jon and Dave ahead of the Filoni movie. Now, the firing ranged from a series of directors that disagreed with Favreau's approach for the show, as well as the anticipated longer hours to be worked on and extended work time as they plan to turn the series into a 12-episode show or season instead of the typical 8. So that's one section of this, is that a lot of employees, a lot of these Lucasfilm crew members or team members were complaining about how each day was going to have longer working hours and the overall working span of time was going to be way longer than that of Mando's Season 1 through 3. Now, that should not be a problem, because you're in this industry, you know what's coming, and typically a lot of people in this industry, they tend to work a good solid 16 hours a day easily. I mean, both in TV and film many times. It's not that uncommon at all. So it could have been more than that, maybe a little bit less than that, who knows, but when you look at stuff like this, about how Favreau really had to let this team go to embrace having no Kathleen Kennedy loyalists attached to this, especially directors that were involved for Mandalorian Season 4, and given that it's going under a major rewrite once the writer's strike lifts, which, by the way, hopefully should be by this August. If it doesn't resolve by this August, guys, by the way, that is a recipe for disaster for Hollywood. You are going to see endless amounts of shows and films delayed easily until 2026 through 2028. Without a doubt. So, moving to the next big thing here, continuing on, the firing also included many crew and some cast members that were not in agreement with Favreau and Filoni's description. The cast members ranged from them playing minor roles, however not major, and felt the cameos were going to overshine their roles. Many artists and concept artists were also recently dropped, and that new ones are to be hired. An entire new camera crew will also be hired for Mandalorian Season 4, with a planned release date of March of 2025 right now. Now, that, by the way, guys, before I get to the next piece as well, is still a far ways off, and here's the biggest difficulty about Jon and Dave that they are embracing right now. Okay, so you got Ahsoka. That's perfect. You know, so far it has a promising look to it, based on the trailer. We should be getting that final trailer by the end of this month now. Yes, it got delayed. I know, it's a bit of an eye roller, but yeah, so that's happening. But they have Ahsoka. After that, they really don't have much. I mean, because the writer's strike is just really halting a lot of things. And sure, they have been writing scripts for various shows, but they never completed a lot of them. So that is all halted right now. That's all come to a pause. And so really all they're banking on right now, for Favreau and Filoni at least, is Ahsoka and Mando Season 4 for 2025, because 2024, the main show is The Acolyte by Leslie Headland. The sub-show is going to be Andor Season 2. That's going to be released around the fall or maybe even late summer of 2024. And they want to get Acolyte out by the first or second quarter of that year as well. They're still aiming for April of next year, by the way, right around when the Rey movie begins filming, which is a little odd coincidental piece there. But anyways, on top of this, alright, Kennedy was reportedly very furious about this development from Favreau for firing an entire Lucasfilm crew to be replaced with another team that was approved by Disney higher-ups to ensure that Mando Season 4 is an improvement from the atrocity of Season 3 by Kathleen Kennedy that tainted the show. Favreau is set to finalize and, of course, hire an entire new team by this November and begins to plan filming by spring of 2024. That could be late March, give or take, technically speaking, or as we go into the month of April as well. So, look, there's a lot of things going on here because they didn't fully intend on rewrites in the beginning, but now that the writer's strike is just delaying things moving forward, I guess Jon and Dave realized that there's a lot more time for improvement and changes and adjustments to be made, so why not? Keep yourselves busy, right? Because anything else, you're going to have to start from scratch for the most part. So, yeah, I mean, guys, look, this is going to be really tough. I'll maybe try to put like a little poll on my Twitter to see what you guys have to say about this, about whether or not you believe Jon and Dave can really turn things around or course correct the franchise. Now, look, I feel the only good Star Wars, if anything has a chance of being good, it's Dave Filoni-driven material and or Jon Favreau-driven material, without, and I say without, Kathleen Kennedy interruptions, like how she did with Mando Season 3. Season 2 is pretty solid, very, very well done. Season 3 was a big drop-off, and that's because Kennedy had more reign over that season, for specific reasons that we've gone over so many times. But yeah, I mean, Jon and Dave, they're carrying so much weight on this show. Ahsoka Season 2 is supposed to begin production very, very soon. They want to start the script, but they can't because of the writer's strike again. So yeah, I mean, guys, I would love to hear your take on what Favreau did here. I think it really is very brave of him, and regardless, he wants to make something new, and he wants to reset the actual show to go back to the bare bones. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below what you guys have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.